had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it. Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversations about Pence pardoning, anything like that. I mean, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation we should resign. I mean, that would be my take, but I don't think he would take it, but I don't know.
What they said we did, we never did. I mean, I never asked President Trump to resign. We both talked about that. We've talked about...
with him about resigning?
No, let me be very clear. I have never asked the president to resign. So what the book said was not true. I never asked the president to resign.
Poor Kevin.
God,
that was, of course, before they played the tape. What a week for the Republican Party. You get House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy's speakership thrown back into disarray after tapes proved he not only blamed Trump for January 6th, but he was going to ask him to resign. This is Mark Meadows' text messages show dozens of Republicans desperately trying to overturn the election. One even talking about implementing martial law in the United States. The former president himself having a tough week. Trump was found in contempt in the New York court order to pay $10,000 a day until he complies with the state attorney general. And down in Florida, it's DeSantis who's fighting, I'm not making this up, the Magic Kingdom.
Well, we got to fight somebody.
The Magic Kingdom. Let's bring in right now for the week that was the Republican Party. Former chairman of that party, Michael Still, also the host of the podcast On Brand with Donnie Deutsch. Donnie, I want to start with you really quickly as a branding guy. You know, I think Democrats just are making this way too difficult. I can tell you if I were out on the campaign trail against Republicans, I'd just say, this is a party of liars and kooks. I talk about Kevin McCarthy. I talk about all the lies around Kevin McCarthy. I talk about this is the party that is working day in and day out, especially in the House, with people that talk about Jewish lasers in California, that talk about Italian dudes using lasers to rig elections, who talk about bamboo in ballots, that the Chinese are putting bamboo in ballots. They're QAnon freaks that follow one QAnon conspiracy theory after another. You got Kevin lying again about January 6th. You've got other members now lying for Kevin, rational members in normal circumstances lying for Kevin, going, oh, it's very obvious. The tape, it was rigged. You've got in Georgia, Brian Kemp, the Republican who was #1 on Donald Trump's enemy list. He hated him so much he said that he was going to support Stacey Abrams. Kemp is humiliating his conspiracy-addled opponent, David Perdue, right now, his pro-Trump conspiracy-addled opponent. Kemp is rolling over him. You got loaded guns at the airports from Republicans who keep getting arrested for bringing loaded guns to airports. And then you've got this Michigan civil war going on within the Republican Party. I think James Carville is right again. Like, don't make it harder than it should be. These people are out of their mind. They are crazy. They are kooks. They are conspiracy theorists. And just like Le Pen in France, they're dangerous. You don't want them in charge, even if you agree with them on some issues. Even if the other side is arrogant like Macron, these people are crazy. You don't want them running Congress.
Yeah, whether you dupe them, party of dupes, party of knuckleheads, party of weirdos, party of freaks. That is a simple message. And underneath that, it's the party of nothing. They're not offering anything. All they're offering is these obscene, ridiculous, half-baked, lunatic fringe platforms. So if I said to you, amidst all of this, give me one policy, one economic policy, one financial policy, one policy as far as international relations that they stand for nothing. And the challenge, obviously, for the Democrats is we are heading into a very, very tough economic climate. And we do know that if you're going to bring up Carville, let's bring it up again. You know, it's the economy, stupid. So that's obviously what the Democrats are going to be fighting against. We've got inflation. We're going to have interest rates continue to rise. And we've got that cycle, that recessionary cycle there. But you need to make people very afraid of Republicans. We're going to know a lot more in May. There are about 8 or 9 really, really important primaries happening where you've got a lot of Trump-backed candidates in a lot of swing states in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, in Idaho, and that's not a swing state, but about 8 or 9 states that we're going to really kind of see how people feel about Republicans. I think we're going to have an early take on that. But I agree with you, Joe. Whatever adjective you want to use, whatever loony fringe attitude you want to use, make people afraid this is not only the party of nuts, it's the party of no.
Well, they're out of their blanking minds. That's what I would say on the campaign trail. I won't say it here because, it's a kid's show. And so I'll watch my language this time. But, Michael, still, Democrats don't have to work to scare people about the Republicans. No. They're crazy as hell. You look at the top 2 pieces, their top 2 legislative actions, or the top 2 actions that have been taken. Let's start in Texas. You got Abbott wanting to own the libs. He ends up screwing truck drivers and screwing Texas taxpayers out of $4 billion. Just to own the libs. You go to Florida, you get DeSantis. He's so desperate to own the libs and just make stuff up, right? He's going to cost Central Florida taxpayers $1 billion. This is in the I-4 corridor. This is the part of Florida that decides elections. They're out of their mind, and they've got people that they deal with every day that talk about Jewish lasers, that talk about Italians rigging elections. They believe conspiracy theories that are pushed by a Chinese religious cult. I mean, they're crazy. I don't have to work hard. I can literally talk for 10 hours on the campaign trail going, oh, and you support that, and you support that. Right. Well, at least you're taking care of health care because you said you were going to replace and repeal Obama. Oh, wait. It's been a dozen years, and you haven't done a damn thing. Michael, this is not hard. I mean, it's seriously. Democrats, I'm Casey Stengel here. Can't anybody here play this game?
No, they can't. That's the problem, Joe.
Why?
They can't.
What's wrong with that?
I have no idea. I've never seen a party that's so inept at politics as the Democrats are. You just laid out literally in about 30 seconds just three subject matter topics that they could just drill home without even breaking a sweat. Look, they've got the narrative. They've got the policy. They've got the positioning of a president who's brought stability to things that we were dealing with here at home from COVID and trying to pull the economy together and got infrastructure in place, creating jobs out there, and then rallied NATO that was fractured and all over the place around the central cause of democracy. So tell that story.